Hey there, amazing listeners. Before we dive into today's episode, I've got a bit more housekeeping. If you love the show as much as we love making it, please hit that follow button. And if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a like, leave a comment, or share an episode. We still find that good old word of mouth is the best way to get the show out there. So please tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your dog, or for our demographic, tell your fellow residents in the old folks' home. Your support helps us keep the conversation going, brings more awesome content your way, and allows us to attract some fab guests. So thanks as always for listening. For now, get comfy, get cozy, and let's get into it.
Let's start a podcast about our mental health for no good reason why. Let's call it Mind Cake.
Whatcha, everybody, and welcome to another slice of Mind Cake.
Mind Cake.
With him,
Lee Crompton. And him,
Paul Beeson. Hello, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. How are you?
I'm good, man. I've had a really busy August, as you'd expect, in the Fringe and stuff, and get your little bell ready. Ooh, that sounded rude.
Sorry?
I said, get your little bell ready, because I just did a little bit of touring with Shark in the Park. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, you've managed to get that in within the first minute of the show.
I did. So, yeah, I've been pretty busy. And now I have a little bit of downtime. So I'm back, baby.
So, which is fabulous. But just, sorry, moving swiftly on. When you say about your little bell,
Yes.
did you not have a little bell? It's coming very rapidly to that time of year again. Did you not have a little bell in the Polar Express?
Yeah. So, well, everybody on the Polar Express gets a little sleigh bell.
What's that thing you're doing?
Jingling my sleigh bell.
Oh, is that what that is? Right, okay.
Yeah.
It looked a bit like something else.
Yeah, did it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's getting near that time again where
Yeah.
I'll be jingling my bells.
Are you Polar Expressing it this year?
I am.
Oh, which brings us back to Arthur Bostrom.
Hey,
Any Arthur Bostrom news? Will you be dressing up as Arthur Bostrom again?
I will be. Yeah, I'll be the conductor again. I'm going to grow my own moustache this year, though.
Wow. Was the last one stuck on, was it?
Yeah, the last 2 years it's been stuck on because I'm going to be doing a play before Polar Express, which I kind of need to grow a tash for. So I think if I just grow it now,
Just grow it now.
I'll just have it until Christmas Eve.
Start now. And
that's what I'm doing.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only have you haven't been out in the rain today, it's not quite as bouffon-y as normal.
No, I was running late for a rug delivery this morning, so I didn't.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
I didn't have time to dry my hair, so it
Balls
went
deep in rugs again, are we?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
rolled up Persian rugs.
Have you not been doing any writing today, Paul? Because you've got your house coat on, which we know.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't. I haven't written a sausage since the Fringe show.
No.
Because I can't remember. Did we record an episode where when I was trying to do the writing like a week before?
Yeah, you did. You wrote the whole show within about a nanosecond before you're actually due on stage, I think was the general.
Yeah. And I pulled a couple of all-nighters that week as well. And I finished the rehearsal draft at about 1 a.m. on the day of the first rehearsal.
Wow.
But it went really well. So, I obviously managed to work to the deadline. So
you do like a deadline.
I do. I need a deadline.
You need a deadline.
And I'm sure there's lots of other people like that. And I've always been like that ever since I was at school. I couldn't do stuff in advance. I need that pressure, the deadline to.
Do you need a deadline for your show reel?
What's that?
Do you need a deadline for your show reel?
I thought that's what you said. Yeah, probably, because if I give myself a deadline, then I'll do it, wouldn't I?
Do it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, this is quite waffly for a non-waffly episode.
It is. I'll ask you how you are after the interview,
afterwards, and then I'll lie.
Oh, okay.
So this week we are mostly be speaking to Cara the Spirit Guide.
And there's a reference for the kids, isn't it? From
Paul,
the Fast Show.
yes, I will Fast Show. We like a bit of Fast Show. And you were involved in this, weren't you?
I was part of this interview for a change.
You were part of this interview, and it was a very strange evening.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of strange things happened, but we shall, I think, just crack on.
Yeah.
And see what the listeners make of it.
Let's do it.
Hello, Mindcakers, and welcome to another edition where this week we are very privileged to be joined by spirit guide, medium and healer, psychic to the stars, Cara. How are you, Cara?
I'm fine, thank you, Lee.
Other than the weather.
Other than the weather, I'm tip top. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you. After the day that you've just been saying that you've been having, then thank you very much for taking the time to joining us. You've had quite the day.
No problem.
Do you want to start by saying, I was going to ask, what is the difference between a spirit guide and me? You see all these like words bandied about, but what is the difference between a spirit guide, a medium, a psychic? And can you explain a bit about your role as a spirit guide?
Sure. Yes. A spirit guide is an energy, not a person who's lived and died. Sorry, the dog's barking now.
Right.
It's thundering. Never mind. It's an energy that brings us in when we're born, and when we die, takes us out again. We're all made up of energy, and I will connect with the spirit guide when I'm doing a reading. So I'm the person in between. I'm a medium.
Mm-hmm.
I'll connect with your spirit guide to get information about you. And then your spirit guide will connect with my spirit guide and give me the information. It sounds very complicated. It's not really. It's a joining of energy to give people information.
Mm-hmm.
And spirit guides they're connected to us. They're deeply connected to us. And people get afraid. And there's no need to be, because they're here to help. They're not here to give bad information, but people do get afraid. Mm-hmm. Sorry, the cat's
It's all kicking off.
I wondered what that was.
So my spirit guide or Paul's spirit guide or anybody else's spirit guide could be someone we don't know, or maybe someone, a relative that we've lost. It wouldn't
be somebody that you would know.
Right.
Occasionally, when I tune in, I'd get somebody connected to you who'd maybe passed on, who'd kind of come in to give some information. But a spirit guide is not that. It's an energy that is there around your life cycle. As I say, when you're born, they will come in with you. Certain times in your life when you have stress, they'll be around you. Mm-hmm. And when you die, they'll take you out of this world again. They'll accompany you. Mm-hmm. Just like somebody holding your hand, really, like an adoptive parent, that kind of.
And is it the same, I say person, but spirit, or can they change, or how does that generally work?
I'm sorry, there's an aeroplane going over now.
Oh,
it's going to be like a comedy half-hour, this I can see. Sorry, can they change?
Yeah, can they change, or does if you have a spirit guide, does it generally stay the same, or is it sort of evolve, or how?
They don't change. But you can have more than one.
Right.
So, say if I read for you today, I might pick up a certain energy, and on another day, it might be a completely different energy.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, if you'd lost somebody and somebody had passed over, I might pick up their energy also, but I can't guarantee I could pick up that energy.
You've not met Paul before. Are you picking up any energy from him, other than he's having a really shit day because he's
he's having the same day that I'm having, and somebody's laughing in the spirit world about what's going on. They're aware of what's going on. At first, I thought they were trying to. Sometimes they try and stop things, but they're not. They're just kind of. It's almost being mischievous. They're just calling in to say we're here. but we're not going to make it easy. They do that sometimes.
Yeah.
I like Paul's spirit guide because it's normally me that takes the mickey out of him. But if his spirit guides are taking his mickey out of him as well, then I'm fully on board with that.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I find connecting with spirit, the energies are usually comical. You know, they're quite good energies, and they're almost playful. It's quite nice, really.
Sorry, just as a little aside, it is nice, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, to meet somebody who's having a bad day as well, because it does make you feel a little
Yes.
bit better, like you're not just, you know, the world's not against you. So maybe that's part of it as well, you know, like we're all in the same boat, and that's a reassuring thing.
Exactly. It's just been the worst day ever for me today. So it can only get better. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
If you are any good at building sets, Cara, then I'm sure Paul wouldn't mind. I mean, I would put a play out now, but the trouble is, by the time this goes out, it's going to be too late. For those of you who don't know, do you want to explain what's happened today, Paul, very briefly?
Yeah, just very quickly. We are starting rehearsing our new show for the Edinburgh Fringe on Wednesday. This is Monday. And this evening, our company who's building our set has withdrawn from helping us, their services. Yeah.
Oh.
So, everything was going fine until about 2 hours ago, and suddenly it's all just kicked off. But yeah.
I think maybe that's what I picked up. Because the same here. So the electrics went, the candles all went out, the dog started creating. You
it's because they knew you were coming on, Paul. I, however, had a lovely day. I've had a lovely day on a boat. I've just had a couple of beers and some fish and chips.
Well, I'm glad one of us has.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Cara, how did you come to realize that you had the ability to connect with the spirit world? How did that all? Because, like you say, it's not a normal thing that you just wake up one morning and find that you've, how did that all come about?
Well, initially, as a child, I kind of knew things. I'd tell my mother things that I couldn't possibly have known. You know, information that happened way before I was born, and yet I was kind of privy to it. I knew what was going on. And she was very surprised and kind of said, well, you couldn't possibly know that. I should explain, it kind of started when I was about 5 years old, and it started with me singing rather than giving information. I was a bit too young to be giving, obviously, information, but I could sing, and I'd pick things up, and then my mother maybe wouldn't be very well, and I'd say, oh, I can make you feel better, Mummy, and I put my hands on her, and she was quite surprised that she did feel better. And as I got older, I began to know things. That's the only way I can explain it. I'd stand in the shop when we were going shopping in a queue, and there'd be a lady next to me, and I'd realise that the lady wasn't very well, and I'd maybe run across and put my arms on her and say, you're fine. And this happened one day in the local co-op, and my mother was quite annoyed because this lady started crying. She was quite upset, and obviously she had some kind of cancer, I found out later when I was older. And I'd said to her, you don't need to worry, you'll be fine. And the lady was, quite moved. It's not always been an easy thing, because it's hard not to tell people things when you're given the messages. Sometimes as a child, my parents would say, please don't say that to somebody. You mustn't tell people things like this, because it was kind of frowned on as being almost like a witchcraft.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose, especially with you being that age.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, people are more open to it now. It's easier to communicate, and a lot more people, professional people such as yourself, will come and ask for a reading, be it they might be wanting to pull you apart and being skeptical, or they might genuinely want to find out some information. It's a very bizarre job I do. It's not the job I chose. It kind of chose me. I absolutely love my job. I meet so many interesting people, and I'm very privileged. Why they chose me to do it, I don't know. And I think they laugh at me a lot because I sometimes, the information I pick up, I wonder where it's sometimes it's absurd.
Mhm.
And it's so absurd, I don't want to tell you. But I've learned from past experience, I have to relate the information they've given me. Even if they say the sky's yellow, I have to tell you the sky's yellow, because I have to get out of the way. The information is nothing for me. It's for you.
Have you ever been in a situation where the information's been, how shall I put this, something that you wouldn't want to tell somebody?
Yes, I've been in readings where people have not been well, and I've realized they've not been well. And on one occasion, I was given the date somebody was going to pass over.
Oh, really?
So information like that, obviously, I don't really want to relate that. I don't always relate it unless I'm asked. If somebody says to me, look, I've got cancer, or I've got this, am I going to live? I need to know because I've got this to do and that to do, and I need to know. And then I feel I should tell them, so I do. Unless somebody asked me directly, I wouldn't say.
Well, so you told me I was going to be fine, didn't you?
Yeah, it's not really my job to say, because because some people are terrified and they take it literally. If you know, they can bring about their own demise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
By thinking that they're sick, and that's not my job. You know, I still can't hear very well. I'm struggling to hear a little bit, Lee.
Can you hear Paul okay?
A bit better than you.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
It's his spirit guide shouting. That's what it is.
It probably is, yeah.
Years of actor training, darling.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'll lean into the mic a bit more. Is that better?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's just a little bit low. It's obviously my gremlins in here.
I'll lean in a bit. What I was going to ask is what are you must come across a lot of misconceptions about spirit guides and the spirit realm. What are the most common misconceptions that you come across?
People think that you're dealing with, you're talking to the devil or bad entities. And spirit guides are not that. It's a good energy that's there to help people. If they tell somebody, give me a message that somebody's not well, it's so that that person can do something about it and seek some help. Not to say, oh, you're going to die, because we're all going to die, you know, at some stage. If there's intervention on somebody's illness, sometimes I pick up before somebody even knows they're not well. I've had people, when I've been doing Reiki, that I can feel the energy's not right, and I know there's maybe cancer or there's something that needs medical attention.
Have you had a reading, Paul?
I did have one. It was quite a long time ago now, and it was an interesting thing because, again, lots of information that, not even just personal information, like little anecdotal kind of things were coming through, and it was really interesting. Like, she picked up on my granny. She was going, your granny used to soup and stovies. She's here laughing in her chair going, soup and stovies. And I was like, how? Yeah, you know, little nuggets like that. And she also said, oh, you need to get your you need to check the pressure on your tires on your car. And I was like, oh, okay. And I sure enough went to the garage and they were all low.
Did she tell you to get your show reel done, did she, Paul?
No.
No.
No, you're here to tell me to do that,
I'm
Lee.
here to tell you that. Have you done it yet? No,
No,
I've been busy.
I've got other stuff going on
I
now.
know. I know. Mm.
I was going
Go
to
on.
ask because you realized you had a gift when you were quite young. Now it's a thing where a lot of children are more attuned to the spirit world, and it's something that we grow out of, or sort of, I don't know, like block as we get older and try to be more rational in the kind of the
Mm.
world that we live in. Are we all kind of born with an ability, a gift, and it's just some people learn to harness it and hang on to it, and other people just shut it out or block it out? Or
I think we're all psychic to an extent. I don't think if you're truly psychic, you grow out of it.
Mm,
I wanted to shut it out when I was in my 20s because I was frightened of it.
okay.
I'd see things I didn't want to see. I'd see people having car accidents, and then 2-3 days later it happened. I'd see people dying of breast cancer, and then it happened. So it was scary. And as I got older, it became easier. It's never easy to tell somebody they're not well, but it became easier for me to not believe I was causing their illness, if you like. It's hard because when you tell people something and you know all about them and you know their names and people connected to them, some people can get very frightened, and it's almost as if you've created this problem that they're facing. Yes, I do think some children are more psychic initially, and as they grow older, maybe because life is more materialistic, it gets pushed away. Because as a child, I was told not to. Don't talk to people. Don't give people messages. I was scolded and sent to bed. For don't tell people things like that.
Yeah, encouraged to not go down that road
Yes.
by the adults in
Yeah.
your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not an easy process, but in my case, it was I went into singing. I was a professional singer. That's how I started my life of work. And then various events that happened pushed me back into being a psychic, which I never thought. There's a difference between picking up a psychic message here and there to actually sitting down and sitting with you for maybe an hour and a half and giving you events to do with your life, things that have happened and will happen, and what you should look out for, which I think Lee can confirm I did for him. And well, I don't think it was an hour or an hour and a half with you, darling. I think it was more like 5 hours. I think
It was. I think it was most of the weekend, Cara.
Yeah, I think you moved in virtually. Yeah, it was a nice experience, but it was. I'm glad that you came for a reading because it's easier for me to explain to you how the format is. I mean, it's different every single time I read for somebody because a different spirit guide will come in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a spirit guide won't come in. Maybe one of my guides will come in. Occasionally, nobody comes in, and then I can't read. But it doesn't happen very often, I'm glad to say, but it does happen. It's crazy because I never thought I would do this job, and I never knew where my clients would come from. But my clients found me. I read for quite a lot of celebrities that I didn't ask to read for them. They found me. It was almost as if somebody put it out into the world and little people found me and then came to me.
Little
It's very
people, was one of them
bizarre, I
Dennis
know.
Wise?
Sorry?
It's all right. It was a very poor joke, Cara. I do. But when you said little people, I didn't know whether it was like, what is it? Dennis Waterman? He's quite short, isn't he? Have you ever read for him?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay,
No.
that's right.
No.
Paul, not Paul. Paul's about 6'11", so he's not a little person, are you, Paul? He's 11 is just his hair.
Yeah, I'm 5'9", and my
He's
hair's the
5'9".
rest.
His hair's. I'm just jealous. That's
You
all.
are
I
jealous.
am, but I have to mention his hair every episode because it is a
Jealousy will
work
get
of
me nowhere.
it's a work of genius, isn't it? I mean, look at it. It's so luscious.
It is. It's a bit fluffy today because of the
It's very
humidity.
fluffy. Yeah. Have you just had a bath?
No,
All right.
no. I just. I think it's because I've been pulling it out
Pulling it out
today. Yeah.
Maybe you should ask for some help from up above, Paul.
I will. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Well, here you go. So it leads on to my next question. Do you have any practices or meditation techniques that can aid, because I think Paul needs to connect to his, aid in connecting with spirit guides? So if Paul wants to ask for help, is there any practices or anything he can try and open up that?
Yeah,
conduit?
it's a case of trying to relax and to do some deep breathing, but also you need to get into the state where it's almost your left and your right hemispheres of the brain conjoin, and that's when you go into a deeper cycle. And it's quite hard to explain. It's almost as if the two sides of the brain come together, and then it creates this kind of channel to talk to guides. It's not something you can do in 5 minutes, and yet sometimes you can't do it at all. It's hard to explain. It's very hard to explain. That's why I think it's quite difficult for some of the really good psychics who've been, maybe they say, caught out reading on TV and things. It's not because they're not genuine. It's because you do have to get into that state. There is a state where you kind of relax and join these two parts of the brain, and then it's almost as if that's a clear pathway to connect. I don't know if I've explained that very well, really.
Well, no, I think I get that. I'm not sure whether Paul needs a spirit guide or just a couple of carpenters. I think at this juncture with
both. I'll take anything.
I can't help with that, I'm afraid.
No.
Carpentry's not really my forte.
It's interesting talking about like mediums who've been caught out and stuff on TV. And like you say, maybe it doesn't mean that they're not genuine. It's just that if nothing's happening, there's a pressure on them to perform in front of the camera, and you can't. It'd be a boring program if the medium was stood there for half an hour going, no, nothing's happening. I'm not getting anything, because that's not entertaining, is it? So
exactly, yeah, exactly.
But then, does that frustrate you? Because then it puts what you do in perhaps a more negative light, because then people will, perhaps assume that it's a scam.
The unfortunate bit is there are a lot of charlatans, which makes our job a lot harder. If I've nothing to say to somebody, if I don't pick anything up, I don't say anything. I don't make it up. I either have the message and I give it. It's a difficult job. It's not a job that's the same day after day. Every reading is different. Every message is different. Some messages are absurd to me, but to the person I'm relating them to are very relevant. So it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I think, to answer your question, it's really, to me, it's like when I was singing, because before you go on stage, every time before you go on stage, it's a new event. There's nothing predictable. Something can go wrong. The mics might not work. The lights don't work, whatever. There's always that, oh, what if? And I suppose I like the challenge of it. And that's kind of how it enhances the showbiz part together with what I used to do. It works quite well.
Yeah, I must say that there is something that's really exciting about doing like live performance where, like you say, it doesn't matter how much you've rehearsed and how well you know your lines or, whatever it might be, but there's always a chance that it might just all go horribly wrong. But there's something really exciting about that kind of
Yes,
spurs you on, and that you get a buzz from that, don't you?
exactly.
Mhm.
And you learn how to overcome it.
Mhm.
It's almost like this challenge
Mhm.
every time. Shall I walk onto that stage or do I walk away? And it's the same with what I do. Every person who sits in front of me, I can't say where the information is coming from, because I can only tell you what I know, that if my spirit guide connects and gives me the information, I can tell you the information. Otherwise, I don't know that your grandpa is 91 or his name was John or Joe or whatever.
Mhm.
It's given.
Mhm.
So it's like every time it's like this nervous tension. And once you get through it and you've got the information, then it's wonderful. It's like you finish your show and you're coming off to rapturous applause because you've succeeded. You've done what you set out to do.
No, I have to say we've mentioned it before, but when I came and saw you originally, it was a real. The initial decision was a complete kind of off the hoof. Well, I'll just go and see a spirit guide for my 50th birthday, and if it's meant to be, there'll be one in Knutsford, and they'll have a availability this afternoon. And it was very well. Let's stick with skeptical. I'm going to say, yeah, I was doing it more for, wouldn't that be a nice thing to do for my 50th? And it is what it is. I didn't really go in with any expectations or whatever. And then, as you say, some of the things that you yes said were, well, there was no way, and Paul will know, because I think we did a podcast not long after I came back from that first Knutsford trip, and I was like, you'll never guess what's happened to me. Like I said, I was there most of the afternoon, and some of the things that that you came out with was just, well, there was absolutely no way you could have known that.
Mhm. And it wasn't just the information that was sort of being offered in the reading or whatever. It was just the way that you ended up there in the first place. It was just everything just fell into place. The whole experience was.
It's the how I ended up there in the first place, and then the fact that I didn't know until you sent me your payment details that your surname was Crompton.
Oh, of
That's
course,
right,
yes, I've
yeah.
forgotten.
And I hadn't put on my email, I just put Lee. So you didn't know that my surname was Crompton. And if I remember when I saw you last time, I said I specifically didn't pay you before I turned up, because otherwise, if you saw the payment, you'd know that I was also a Crompton. But I haven't met another Crompton other than obviously let's give cousin Carrie another plug. Other than obviously family members, I don't think I've ever met another Crompton.
I don't. People don't normally realize I'm a Crompton because I'm Cara's spirit guide.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of hiding anything, but my husband was quite a famous comedian, and I'm an entity in my own right. It's kind of a different thing altogether, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But no, it was weird that, you know, when the Crompton comes in for a reading and virtually moves in. I will admit, but it was an interesting reading. But the thing is, once I've read for somebody, and such a long reading as it was, there's hardly anything I can remember about it.
Really?
Because when I tune in, as I say, it's these two halves of my brain kind of converge.
Mm-hmm.
I link with somebody else. I'm only the telephone receiver.
Oh, night, Aaron.
Has he gone?
Aaron, can you come and say hello? Paul's back on, and Cara, can you come and say hello? Look,
Hello,
it's
little
your,
one.
Hi.
it's your mate Paul.
Hello,
Oh.
Aaron. You're not,
Oh, how
Say hello.
gorgeous.
Give him a wave.
you're not eating any cereal tonight.
No,
Hello.
He's not having any Cocoa Pops, no.
No Cocoa Pops.
no, because I'm not allowed them at night time.
Ah.
Aren't you?
It's morning food.
Morning. Tell Cara and Paul where you're going tomorrow.
London.
Ooh, wow.
Oh,
What are we going to do in London?
Get lots of steps.
Get lots of
Yeah.
steps
Okay,
in here.
yeah, but what are we going to see in London?
Frozen.
Oh,
Frozen the musical.
excellent.
fabulous.
Mm. And you've got
Oh,
your
you're very
Elsa
lucky.
dress, haven't you? Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
wish I could come with you.
That'd be good fun, wouldn't it?
I know, it does sound like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So we've got to get the train. So somebody needs to get a good night's sleep, don't they?
Me and Izzy do.
Yeah, yeah.
Good night's sleep. I love your hair. How old are you?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my sister is 7.
Ah, your big sister.
Mm-hmm. You're the little
You're-
baby sister, aren't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did your daddy have hair like you when he was young?
No.
Has he always just looked how he looks now?
Always look like a bold eagle.
I love your hair.
Yeah. Do you know,
I like hair like that. Mine won't go curly.
I used to have hair like you when I was 4. I'll need to find an old picture and show you one day, but I had hair.
Something you want to tell me, Paul?
No, honestly, when I was 4, I had blonde, curly, really tight, curly hair.
Gee.
Not too
Imagine Paul
dissimilar
with tight
to.
curly hair.
I know.
No.
I know. I will find for the next podcast.
You were on the last one as well, weren't you? You're on all the podcasts now. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Right, were you going to get, because we need to get the train in the morning. So we need to London, yeah. So you need to get a good night's sleep. Yeah. Okay. Right.
You're going
sleep
to
well.
bed now.
Yeah, she's off to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Night,
Night,
Can I
night.
have my pen
Night,
back,
night.
I told you it's going to be one of those nights.
please?
Trying to
Sorry,
get you
what
back.
were we saying before we were interrupted for the second time in 2 podcasts? What were we saying? What were we saying before Erin came in? I can't remember.
There was a nice aura around her.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was just
pinks
her
and
hair,
greys. Yeah, around her hair as well.
a
but around the
golden
face.
fleece. Yeah. She's very
Beautiful.
cheeky. I don't know where she gets that from.
You,
No,
obviously.
yeah. Yes, I wonder where she gets that from.
I tell you what, I will just ask another. We'll seamlessly cut that together, and I will ask another question. What do you see as the future of spirit guidance in an increasingly complex world?
Well, I think people are becoming more interested, and I think they're more aware that there's something more than just being born, living, going to work every day and dying.
Mhm.
They want to know what they're here for,
Yeah.
what it's all about. So people who in the past would never come and see somebody like me, i.e. doctors, lawyers, dentists, professional people, now will actually openly say, I do go and see a psychic,
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
spirit guide. Psychics are people who can pick up things occasionally. A spirit guide is somebody who has the whole picture. Some people, maybe once in their life, might get a psychic message. Is there a future for spirit guides? Well, there's got to be, because spirit guides have been here since time began.
Mhm.
And the feeling I get is that they're not very happy with us, how we're treating the earth and how we're treating people and how we're progressing, because we're making a complete and utter mess of it, really.
Mhm.
Everything's so wrong. We're killing the earth, we're killing the water. People are disillusioned, they don't know what they're living for. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and yet there shouldn't be. You see a little child, just like your little girl, just come in. It's heavenly. That's life. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
there's so many corrupt things not just corrupt people. It comes from people. You know, we're not good to each other. We don't respect each other. We don't tolerate human
No.
beings. And unfortunately, we think we know everything, and we don't. I find animals far more intelligent, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as you know from coming here, I've got dogs and cats, and they're far more in tune with what's going on than we are, because we tend to. Well, we're too busy. We're too busy running around, living and making money and doing what we have to do to survive. But it's just all got out of hand somehow. But yes, spirit guides will always survive, because we're energy, and energy doesn't die; it just carries on.
There will always be new generations of people
Exactly
carrying that work on, or
Yes.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, is it?
But yeah, I think people will become more spiritual as time goes on, because we're searching for something. There's something missing in our lives, and there are just tiny moments, like tonight. It's almost comical what's happening tonight, with things going off and lights going off and electric and children coming in. That's life. That's beautiful. That's what it's all about, really.
Actually, I think I touched on this earlier. It's almost in a way like it's meant to be happening like that tonight, because that's what we need right now.
Yes.
At this moment, in this, at 5 to 9 on this evening, that's what I need to get me where I need to be, wherever that is.
Exactly.
And that's good. We like a bit of chaos as well.
It's normally Aaron.
Well, I don't mind a little chaos, but just after tonight, I think I'll need to lie down in a darkened room for a week or so. But never mind.
How can our listeners find out more about you, and where to reach you if they wanted to reach out for some guidance?
They can get me on. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I have an email and a website, Cara Spirit Guide.
Yeah, we've got a link tree. It's right, isn't it, Paul? Not a LinkedIn tree. A link tree.
A link tree.
A link tree. Yeah. We will put your details on there, Cara. So if anybody listening does want to get in touch and find out more, then they'll know how to contact you.
Thank you very much. That would be that's brilliant.
You're very welcome. Well, thank you for giving up your I was going to say, what day are we? Monday. Is it Monday? It is Monday, isn't it?
It is a Monday.
Thank you for giving up your Monday evening to speak to us.
It's been a pleasure, if not chaotic. I hope it's okay, because it really has been here, there, and everywhere.
It's been a wee ray of sunshine into a very stressful evening.
I was just about to say, all three of us have a smile on our face, so if nothing else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Nice to talk to you.
That's brilliant. All right,
Thank you very much,
care,
Cara.
and I will be in touch very soon in any case.
I look forward to it. Lots of love.
Now, it's been a couple of months since we did that chat, hasn't it? Roughly,
yes.
It was like mid-July, I think.
Yeah.
Because, Cara told me that my spirit guide was laughing at the situation that I had found myself in that day, and her electrics were playing up or something. There was something going weird in her house, and she basically said the three of us being together was a bit chaos, because all our spirit guides were just having a laugh at
having knees up.
Yeah, like at our sort of trivial mortal situations. But it did put a smile on my face. I've got to say, it was a really interesting chat, and afterwards I did feel a lot better, because I'd had a pretty shit day. So it had served its purpose well, I think. And it was really interesting.
It was very interesting. It's funny how things have moved on. That here we are. That so that was the night that basically your set designers have pulled out,
Hmm.
and now here we are, middle of September,
Yeah.
and it's all done. Great
Yeah, and
reviews.
the show went ahead. The set looked brilliant, even better than what the last company that pulled out would
Oh,
have done. So it all worked out in the end, and it was a pretty stressful build and everything to get it done in time.
mm.
There was a split second where we were trying to make a decision about whether to cancel the first show because we didn't know if the set would have been built in
Oh,
time.
really?
But yeah, but the guys were absolutely brilliant, who came up from Yorkshire to build the set, and they worked incredibly hard, incredibly quickly, and we got it up and
I
and
don't want to know about what you did.
no, we got it up and we all managed to perform. So it was all
Brilliant.
good. Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe our spirit guides were laughing because they were like, "Don't. There's no point getting worked up. It's all going to work out. It's going to be what
All
it."
good
Fine,
in
yeah.
the hood.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a strange evening. Lots of things. The electrics went off, our internet went off. I think she had a flood. You'd had a
Mm.
shit day. I think my day had been okay. I can't remember.
Can't remember.
But yeah, it was a very strange evening. But yes, we'll get more into the aftermath and picking it apart a bit in the next episode. So do you want to do some housekeeping?
Sure thing. Well, it's been a while since I've done this. I'm a bit rusty.
Just get Gail in.
No. She's had her moment in the
Just
sun.
had a moment. Yeah.
She is not taking over the hot seat, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Over my cold dead body. Anyway, you can edit that out.
Oh, Beeson's housekeeping. Oh, how very lovely.
If you would like to get in touch with us, and we would love it if you did, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Mindcake Podcast. You can find us on Facebook if you search for Mind Cake, and you can send us an email at sliceofmindcake@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Very good. He's back. What professionalism, ladies and gentlemen. And his new skit at the beginning, he did it in one take.
One take,
Done.
mate.
All
Yeah.
done. Yeah, I have to say, Gail did a brilliant job of stepping into your shoes, but fuck
It
me.
did. Almost
The
too
house,
good.
the housekeeping was a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho,
Yeah. So, have you explained to the listeners about the new formats of the shows?
no,
Well, maybe that would be something that we could do.
I had thought about that and then forgot about that, and you just reminded me about that again.
Cool.
So yes, we would love to get your feedback. Don't even notice we did it with the B episode, where rather than having the episode and having waffle at the front, I know Gail doesn't like us using the word waffle because it has negative connotations, and I fully understand that, but I cannot get my head out of the waffle. Oh, John Hannah just liked my photo, by the way, on Instagram. Our photo on Instagram.
Not the actor John Hannah.
Not the other one.
We've had this conversation. Yeah.
Yes. One day, you don't know, I might catch you out and say, no, the actual John Hannah.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was the other one.
It was our John Hannah.
The other John Hannah, who's just as nice as the actual John Hannah. Because to us, he is the actual John Hannah.
Well, he is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Right.
Yes.
So, rather than having the waffle, or whatever you want to call it, then the meat of the sandwich, then more waffle, what we thought we'd do is have the episode with a short intro and outro so that you just got whatever that episode was about. So for example, this one, just Cara, mainly Cara, and then have a mind biscuit / mind bite the following week where we dissect that episode, talk about it, what we felt about it, and then just the usual waffle as well. And then have a week off. So it'd be 2 weeks on, 1 week off.
So Mind Cake is our interviews and Mind Biscuits are the waffly episodes.
I think I'm still going to call it Mind Bites.
Either way, it's waffly versatile.
It's
There's another one for the kids.
Another one for the kids. Bird's eye potato waffles.
There you go with beans, bangers, bacon, burgers, fish fingers, fish fingers. See the shit that I remember.
Yeah.
I forget my tax return, but I can remember the
It's funny that you forget your tax return, but you can remember the bird's eye potato waffles adverts verbatim.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I was going to say was we would really like your feedback on what you think about the new format.
Yes. Now, obviously, because we're having to explain the new format, this episode's going to be longer than it normally would be. But, once you get through this one...
Yeah, we won't have to explain it again.
Yeah. So
but we will, because we probably might have new listeners who don't understand that. But there will be 1 week off in between, like, the two main...
Yeah, well, maybe what we should do at the start of a Mind Cake episode is just, introduce it as such and say that it's going to be about the interview, and then when we get to the Mind Biscuit one, we can clarify just a short clarification.
This is back. This is like episode 1 again. It's just all over the shop. This is
it's an absolute shambles.
well, maybe welcome everyone, and welcome to Mind Bites. Mind Bites, and then that's all we need to do.
And for Mind Bites, we could switch who does what. So I can go Mind Bites because I never get to go Mind Cake.
Okay, yeah, do that. So when it's a Mind Bites,
that's me.
It's you.
Yes.
And we say Mind Bites, and when it's a Mind Cake, it's me.
Mate, see, the good ideas are just...
This is like a behind the scenes.
Yeah, it shouldn't really be for general consumption, should it?
But it's happening. This is like a band meeting. Meeting.
And you notice we're swearing a lot more in the podcasts.
Are we?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's ever since I found out how you could just, rather than bleeping it out, remember we were meticulously bleeping it out to start with, and now you're going, no, just put explicit content and fuck it.
Yeah. And actually, if we do say explicit content, maybe more people will listen to it, because you know what the fucking public are like.
We don't need to overswear now, Paul.
Fuck you.
How much of this are we keeping in?
I don't know. Dealer's choice.
It's got to keep it under an hour, right? That's the thing. It's got to be under an hour.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
I don't know how long was Cara.
I don't know. I didn't measure her.
No. He's here all week.
Jesus, right. Well, yeah. Whatever.
So anyway, yes. What the gist of what we're saying is, could you just let us know whether you think this is a good idea or a bad idea in terms of format? If nothing else, we will sort out whether people actually like listen to the content or whether they like just listening to the waffle.
However, it does give people the choice as well. If they prefer to just listen to the meat of our episodes, then they can just tune in every couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'd quite like to listen about a spirit guide or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to listen to those other two idiots.
But yeah, I think we're now treading into defeating the purpose of the shorter episode, aren't we? Because it's going to be really long.
Yeah,
again.
I'll have to cut this down somehow because
feedback would be much welcomed, most welcome,
much welcome us,
much welcomed. Yeah, I might have to edit that out because that's racist.
Is it?
Oh, it just did an Indian accent.
Who did?
You did.
That was Welsh.
Oh, right. Okay. Well. No, you need to work on your Welsh accent.
Yeah, this is like they're listening in on a meeting, on a Mind Cake meeting now.
Yeah. I don't think people will enjoy it though.
No, I don't think people enjoy it either.
Just cut all this out.
I'll just cut all this out.
All right, so that's the end of season 2, episode 1. We're into our second season, mate.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit of a cheat because you could just make the seasons as long or short you wanted them to.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
I think 25 is a good stint for an episode for a season.
Yeah, for sure.
I genuinely didn't think we'd get past episode 10.
Well, there you go. But what we're doing is not even having a break, really. We're just smashing straight into another season.
Mm-hmm.
You will hear us, lovely listeners, in episode 2, which will be our first Mind Bite.
Yum, 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 yum.
See you then, folks.
Bye.
Let's start a podcast about our mental health for no good reason why.
gremlins in the system. I wouldn't say she's psychic. No, I mean, she's just a bit. She did say she knows. I had a story. She said she knows everything. I said, you don't know everything, Erin. And she said, I do know everything. I said, if you knew everything, Erin, you'd know the highest mountain in the world. And she said, yeah, it's Mount Everest. Now, apparently, there was an episode of Peppa Pig where Grampy Pig climbs Mount Everest, and that's how she knew. So, as Richard said, sometimes you have to go to the Encyclopedia Britannica. Other times, you just get your world knowledge from Peppa Pig.